My name is Theodoros Iliopoulos. I come from Greece and work in Belgium. I'm a visiting professor and a researcher at UHasselt University. And my main field of expertise is European energy law, and especially law and regulation, the study of law and regulation that governs the European energy transition and the development of renewable energy sources. And in this regard, I'm currently finalizing my postdoctoral project that has a title Quo Vadis European Renewable Energy Support Law? And this is a project that is funded by FWO and is being conducted in affiliation with UHasselt University and Ghent University. We live in energy-hungry times and societies, so we need more energy, and with the aim to reach a clean energy transition, we also need more renewable energy projects that will deliver this energy from clean sources and not from fossil fuels that emit and aggravate climate change and cause environmental pollution. But these projects are often very costly, and this is particularly true for the most innovative technologies like hybrid models that combine wind and solar energy, or for ocean energy, for instance. And for such projects to be developed, we need to mobilize private funds and public funds. It is not easy to mobilize all the funds that are needed. And then you need a legal framework that will facilitate access to capital and will ensure a certain profitability and viability for these projects. And the starting point of my research is that at the moment, such a legal framework at the European Union level is fragmented and has failed to provide all the incentives that we need for a smooth and secure and inexpensive clean energy transition to happen without further obstacles. My project aims to provide recommendations about how such a legal framework should evolve so that the objectives of the clean energy transition be met, so that we have more energy security, clean and less costly energy for the consumers, fewer disputes between investors and authorities. And for this to happen, we will also probably need a more homogeneous picture between the different regulatory environments of the different member states. I collect data from what one may call legal actuality. So new legislation, new soft law that is non-binding conditions that different actors are invited or strongly invited to follow, judgments, court judgments, decisions from different authorities, policy reports. So this is data that I use. And of course, I rely a lot on literature review. My methodologies are primarily legal, so I conduct legal desk-based research. But my project has also interdisciplinary elements. So I use elements of law and economics. I use some regulatory theories or environmental economics that is very crucial. Also elements from political sciences, so that I can decode the different interests, the balance of interests and the contestation between different actors that are part of the picture that I'm researching. And of course, even political economy is relevant, or even philosophy, because we're talking about the clean energy transition, and this needs to be just and fair, and these are concepts that you can not only rely in the law to decode and understand. The project is being finalized this period, these are the concluding parts of the project. There have been already some publications that are out and accessible, and there are still a couple of publications pending. And in these publications you can find some key conclusions already, and they deal with the competences, for instance, what should the European Union do and what should be left for the member states to do. There's another set of publications focusing on the principles that should govern this area. I mentioned earlier the market-based design of the support schemes. the requirement for market responsiveness, but what does it really mean and how can you test different instruments that are that apply and are designed against this principle. So that's also a challenge that I try to offer certain recommendations in these publications. And of course there is another set of questions that has to do with the merits of introducing a support scheme, a regulatory instrument that will provide funding for renewable energy projects, and it will work at the European Union level, not at the national level. It started from personal interest. As a bachelor student in law in Athens, I was very much fascinated about the European Union architecture, and at the same time I was very much interested in exploring how the law can contribute to an adequate or increase the level of environmental protection. And then I started delving more into that, and in exploring different aspects of environmental law, I was very much interested in the development of renewable energy sources and the legal framework that surrounds this area. And this was, back then, but still now, a rather new field. So it is not one of the classic fields of law. So I also realized that there is lots of new knowledge that has to be generated. There is many more developments that we still need. There are many gaps in the legal frameworks, etc. And I became really passionate about it because it's also a field that is special in the sense that interdisciplinarity is much more present than in other fields of law. For one to study energy law, for one to research energy law, you have to be acquainted with technical details, you have to be aware of the economics, how the markets work, you have to be aware of the societal challenges, and of course this can also be part of the research in other legal fields. But it is so much present in energy law that it is practically impossible to conduct energy law research without interdisciplinary elements. And this is something that fascinates me, and it's very interesting.